Hi, welcome to another edition of the Pre-Chiro podcast, where we're aiming to build context for any prospective student audience out there. Today we have the opportunity to connect with Dr. Patricia Kazimer. Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia, for taking some time to chat with me and continue to just help shine a light on this path of becoming a chiropractor. Can we just get started by you introducing yourself, sharing a little bit about what you were up to before you went to chiropractic school, and what attracted you to this path?
Sure, absolutely. Great to be here. Wow, it's been a journey. Before chiropractic school, I was deep in the yogic studies. I was also working as an environmental and regulatory specialist. I wanted to be an environmental lawyer. And as my dear mentor, John Martinez, shared with me, chiropractic is in you. You are not in it. And it was only after I had the pleasure of experiencing chiropractic care that I realized that it was a massive series of events in my life that collided. And that this was something that I was looking for so long and just, again, didn't have a platform for. I think so many things led me to this point. And maybe some of the listeners can relate, but I was so passionate about yoga, but every time I would enter into a pose, it always felt like me doing it, like it was outside in, and I was looking for that inside out connection. I could go on and on that. But that's what I was up to before school. And, honestly, I was in a pretty dark place. I was very lost. I was doing something that looked good on paper, but wasn't in true integrity with me. And it was only a couple months before care that I started really diving deep into these spiritual texts and really looking for something that was more true. And then how I discovered, or how chiropractic found me, is a whole different story that we could go into.
Yeah. So can you draw a connection between the philosophy of yoga and how yoga is a lens to view life, but also to live life, and how that resonates or aligns with chiropractic?
Yeah, absolutely. Really two sides of the same coin. The philosophy of yoga is life, and the philosophy of chiropractic is life. And I think it's so powerful that our founders use the phrase, chiropractic adds more life to your life. And that's exactly the lived experience that I had when practicing yoga, that every moment was more potent, more alive, more vital. And that's my experience with chiropractic care. And I think also another amazing founder of ours, or at least master, Reggie Golds, took chiropractic out of the health profession. And I think that's what the yoga community is trying to do, is take yoga out of this paradigm of, better physical health, when in reality it's about what's within.
Can you speak to the way that you entered chiropractic school being maybe a little different from your peers, and the insights that you had gained in the work that you did before chiropractic school really helping you transition smoother, or feel like you're more adaptable to what's the challenges of chiropractic school are today?
Absolutely. So I just was incredibly blessed to receive care from a vitalistic chiropractor before school, who is incredibly generous to me in so many ways. We talk about chiropractic being about this big idea, and this big idea so many people have struggled putting words to it because it's a vibrational state. Chiropractic is vibrational. This philosophy is vibrational. And as much as we talk about it, it's something that comes through you. It's something that is shared. It's an invocation. It's, yeah. So having the experience of being in the office of someone who practiced with so much purity and feeling that philosophy made me, I think, incredibly different from my peers. Not that they didn't have that same experience, but it grounded school for me. It made school secondary and chiropractic primary in my life. Again, the similarity between yoga and chiropractic is their practices and their living, and it's something that we commit to, and we continue to live with awareness of this innate intelligence, not as a nice idea, but as a moment-to-moment check-in, as John Martinez would say. So having access to this living philosophy, it was incredible. It was just being in the space. So many of these chiropractic ideas and concepts would just flood my awareness. And after I became aware of these living principles, it changed everything. It changed my future, it changed my past, and it changed my present. I think if any future chiropractors have the opportunity to shadow offices of vitalistic chiropractors or chiropractors who pride themselves on practicing, not just saying, but practicing the philosophy, it will change your entire school experience. Again, it made everything secondary for me. Boards was secondary, tests were secondary. Everything was, am I being true? Am I congruent? Am I practicing the art, science, and philosophy?
Okay, so can we unpack that a little bit of bringing a student into the understanding of chiropractic a little bit more than say a guidance counselor could? So can you speak to day to day how chiropractic can show up in your life, and how it's a very empowering message, a message where you're thinking differently than you were prior to chiropractic or receiving care, or being on the path to become a chiropractor is oftentimes very nonlinear. So can you speak to that direct experience that you have, like going day to day, and then also like what you naturally gravitated towards because of that as a chiropractic student?
Yeah. I think the people who are thinking about chiropractic, just remember it's already in you, and the experiences that you're naturally drawn to are leading you to this path. As a kid, I remember always wanting something. I don't know, my back went out during a basketball game as a really young kid, and my parents took me to get Rolfing every week. And just the lady would massage me, and she'd be talking about that, your body holds emotions, your body is holding, your back just doesn't give out as a kid for no reason. And so I think the people who are drawn to this will have those experiences, and just they will become like more clear to you as the more you follow the advice of Dr. Glass and some of the other chiropractors in here. But for example, for me, it was massage, or I was an athlete. I loved using my body. I even thought I would be a PT. And I only decided not to be a PT because when my mom was in a tragic accident, and I shadowed a PT who was working with her, and I realized that he was just going on a computer, typing in her disease condition, print it out, and then would walk her through the steps. And I thought, all of that schooling, all of that education, and if I followed that path, it would just be a step-by-step process without any creativity. So that led me, without even knowing, to chiropractic, because I wanted creativity. I wanted to work with the body. I enjoyed using my body. Yeah, even just mental experiences, like, anything that is a deep impression on you can be used and enhanced to guide you to chiropractic. Ask me more. Ask me more about what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a student, you start out luckily grounded in some fundamentals that most students don't have when they enter. You've been able to observe somebody who's dedicated to chiropractic and expressing a very high level of it. And then as school goes along, you have opportunities. You've traveled internationally to share chiropractic in other communities. Can you speak to that experience and what that has been like for you as a student, but someone who has got the ability to really help others? Pretty soon after you become a student, you have the opportunity to go on these trips. Can you just elaborate on what a service trip is, what your experiences were like on those trips?
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think the best thing about chiropractic is it's free in every sense. So after you commit yourself, like fully dive in and commit to the skill set, but also commit to sharing your heart with others, so many opportunities open up, and you're able to go anywhere, do anything, as long as you have your hands and maybe a table, but who knows if that's really necessary. And so I was really lucky that a lot of people that I really looked up to did service trips early in school. And that was always a goal for me, to really challenge myself to become a chiropractor on my own terms and not by the terms of the educational system. Not that the educational system doesn't have a place, but through doing service work, you're able to define for yourself who you are as a chiropractor, and before all of the conditioning of school comes into play. So school is part of chiropractic, but chiropractic is not school. And after you go through a couple of years of school, these concepts are already in your mind, kind of, that there's a therapeutic benefit of chiropractic care, or chiropractic relieves back pain. And these early expansive nonlinear thoughts of chiropractic as expressing potential and connecting you with yourself and living authentically, kind of they're still there, but they're not, they're more difficult for you to relate to. So that's why I chose to go on service trips. Yeah. And I think I've been to Mexico, I've been to India. I've been to Mexico maybe 6 times, and India, I went just last year, November 2019. And there's just something different about, there's just something different about being with people who are in a state of grace. When there's an open table in a city center or in an ashram or wherever, and someone has the opportunity to witness the art that's happening and choose to step on a table and surrender, and you're surrendered as well as a new chiropractor, just hoping for the best and hoping that your skill comes through. It's just such a, it's an amazing opportunity. I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned a couple times like the creative expression, and I know that you've studied with Dr. John and NUMA seminars. Can you describe what NUMA seminars, like what it's about, or some of the structure, or maybe some of the depth that people aren't aware of that exists within the opportunities and resources that are available?
Absolutely. NUMA seminars, they're put on by Dr. John Martinez, oftentimes in Denver, Colorado. NUMA means to work with the breath. And so that's a really fundamental part of this work. I think, maybe you should just have him on here as well, but the NUMA seminars are a really safe space and creative space for new chiropractors. I went to my first seminar before school to really expand and explore with guidance and care all that is happening within a system. My experiences going to seminars before school were really expansive. Like, I remember just everyone around me was adjusting cervicals, and I was just sitting there holding someone's head and feeling all the pulses happening in someone's body, and just receiving so much. I think that was a Tao of chiropractic, but very similar. And just being in the space with Dr. Eric Rubin and Dr. John Martinez, and feeling safe to explore that and then expand it. A couple of my first seminars, like Dr. John or Eric would put my hands over theirs, and I could feel everything that they were tracking into, and then they would do the adjustment with me. And that left such an impression in my mind of like the gathering that happens. It's really just a way to take chiropractic to that next level of depth. And there's also a web page that I could send you the link to, but
yeah, we'll
we go
that,
over so much.
Yeah, and I gotta say that one of the most important things that I experienced on my path was having somebody's hands match mine and show me the way and show me how it feels to deliver that force, the depth of the force, the specificity, but that connection to the structure in the neck. It's not easy coming as a massage therapist, somebody who's used to working with the body in a different way, and then to connect with the skeletal system and the skeletal frame, but also with the intention and the consciousness that you have when you're exploring creatively the art of chiropractic. Can you share where you're at today and what's going on? What is most important for you today? Where's your focus? Where's your passion at?
Yeah, happily. I graduated in September. Yeah, which was a very interesting experience. It was a Zoom graduation ceremony, pretty funny. But I'm a happy graduate of Life Chiropractic College West. I just moved to Denver a couple weeks ago, but I'm staying in Breckenridge temporarily. And I'm just starting to, I just applied for my license as well. And it's been an amazing time already, just feeling like the training wheels are coming off. My focus, I don't know. I think in this time, there's been so much stagnancy, people encouraging you to stay at home and stay quiet and stay docile. And now that I'm sort of free, like out of sort of those structures. I just want to adjust everyone. And my focus is just being free and being a congruent chiropractor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's very easy to slip, to want to help someone so much that you forget kind of what we signed up for. So both ends of that, very freeing, and also I just have this eye on, maybe I learned this from yoga, but just always watching my behaviors, my tendencies, and wanting to stay congruent with this path because it's so powerful. It changes lives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. So, what's the plan, or do you not have a plan? Are you intending on doing anything in the near future? You just graduated. Can you provide some insight as to, obviously, it's a different time right now, but what that sort of trajectory looks like? You get released out into the world. What are some of the questions you're asking of yourself, or what are some of the places that you're showing up as a new grad?
Yeah. So I think I've been really privileged to have the opportunity to continue to surround myself with great mentors like Dr. Eric Rubin, Dr. John Martinez, etc. Like so many amazing chiropractors. I can't even start listing all of them. I think keeping those connections alive and heart-centered, wanting to be close with those people has really helped me develop the confidence to step out on my own. So while I'm up here in Breckenridge, I am going to be starting my own practice. I just want it to be very organic. It's actually funny, on my ride up here, the bus driver just started talking with me and sharing some really personal details about his life. And I said, well, I'm moving here because I'm a chiropractor and I'll also be working in Denver, which I'll elaborate on later. But he said, well, that's great. I need a chiropractor. So first person I met here was looking. And I just have a feeling that obviously this isn't always true, but when this is it for you and you want it, it just happens. So I'll be seeing people up here. And then also I'll be working at the NUMA office in Denver, which I'm beyond honored to be working at. And it'll be my own situation, and I'll be there with other chiropractors, like Dr. Marianne Heidekamp. She's amazing. And I'll be seeing people there as well. So it's a really rich time. The lesson I learned from that is, yes, there is a lot happening in the world, and people do feel closed off from each other. But when you want this, people come no matter what.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, for me, practice, and I don't really market myself, but practice has been busier than ever, and it doesn't need to rely on marketing anymore. The old marketing tactics are not as effective as just having really good quality reviews, having a great reputation, having people you've taken care of that know who you are, know what you're about. And so that'll stand much bigger in a time like this, where it's much more about who you are than sort of the facade that you've created for people. Right on. Can you speak about, like, how you want to set up your practice? You said that you're going to start your own thing. Are you developing your own forms? Are you going to use templates and then build your own forms? Are you going to practice open adjusting? Are you going to see people every 15 minutes? You're going to book 3 people every 30 minutes? How are you doing it?
Yeah. So Right now, I'm starting very, very slow. I think I'm seeing like 2 or 3 people this week alone. My plan was to take a verbal history, just chat with people, just be genuine, ask them like, why are you here? Tell me about, what you've done with your body in your life. What are your tendencies? How is what's going on in your life beyond your physical health? But that's all so organic. I will have forms in the future. That's something that I'm planning on working on getting together, maybe next week. But I think I'll use a template just to keep it very focused on holistic health. Medical health, allopathic health is certainly a part of that. But I remember filling out chiropractic forms, and I think they can be used powerfully to help people reflect. So that's kind of how I'll design my forms, to help them reflect on maybe what has driven them in, be it wellness or otherwise. I like to see people slow. I like slow visits. That I'm sure that will change as I get busier, but I spend usually 30 minutes to 45 minutes with one person. That's how I operated in the clinic. I think it will be a really natural transition to do open adjusting. But I also really want to offer a private room. I think that a lot can come up for people in chiropractic care, and I want to offer a space for people who want to make connections. Chiropractic's not talk therapy, but I think it's important to hold space for that. Working on my website, I was encouraged by several mentors to take the business part slow, make it very simple, and make it something sustainable. So everything will be focused on simple. There's one place to book your appointments. There's one place to pay, and it can be accessed anywhere. The forms are available anywhere. Something I'm working on is I want to provide like a Linktree link with different resources, like what's the promise of the chiropractic lifestyle? What's the chiropractic lifestyle like? What's the promise of an adjustment? And then some SRI, or ways to connect with yourself as kind of a home practice. So that's what's coming up for me for the business plan right now. But again, just really simple.
Yeah. Can you speak to, a lot of people sometimes think of, when you're gonna adjust somebody, you have to be big and strong, and can you just speak to like how it is as a female adjusting, and also just kind of like how important is it that you're this big person, or can smaller people really do well in adjusting and be just as effective and deep as somebody who's a lot bigger or stronger?
I'm so glad you asked this. You know who I think of is Dr. Irina. She was a huge mentor for me early in school. Yeah, it goes back to this really fundamental chiropractic book called Power versus Force. And if you want to deliver forceful adjustments that happen on your terms, you need to be big, you need to be powerful, and you need to know how to overpower someone. But if you want to deliver powerful adjustments, you need to connect with yourself, you need to know your own physical body, and you need to know leverage. And I actually worked a lot with Dr. Warren Zhao on that. Ultimately, in the type of adjusting work that I've been in, its basis is tensegrity. So as long as you know how to work your way in, it takes nothing. You could, what did D.D. Palmer say? You could hit someone on the back with a shovel.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting you bring up Dr. Irina. That's my partner, actually. That's who I practice with, and I'm always letting people know, hey, don't think that just because you're about to get adjusted by her is not going to be just as deep or deeper. And I always chuckle when I see her working on people because she's not huge. She's not physically like this weightlifter, but the depth that she delivers adjustments with is like it's really deep. And she's working on huge 250-pound guys that are solid, and the effect of an adjustment is so deep. It's a really cool thing to just send a message to anyone out there, high school, college. If you're thinking of becoming a chiropractor and you don't think that you're big enough or you don't think you're strong enough, it's really not about that at all. And like you said, leverage, knowing how to use your body, knowing how to work with somebody else in this dance that we call a chiropractic adjustment. Any final messages to the younger people of just kind of how to center themselves in their path, how to get clear on why they want to become a chiropractor?
If you have the calling, just jump in. No fear. This is like a path of grace. Like you're protected if you do this work. Really take the time to figure out what resonates with you and trust your instincts. Yeah, it all makes sense, it all makes sense once you only know once you know. And once you feel like you know that you're meant to be a chiropractor, dive in. I mean, this is the most beautiful, trust me, this is the most beautiful profession possible. There's infinite opportunity. Even if every person in the world were a chiropractor, every person would offer something different. And that's because your own personal experience of healing is so different. And you can also practice with so much freedom. You can go anywhere. You can do anything. You could practice on a boat. You could practice on a mountain. You can practice anywhere, as long as you keep it simple. Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Patricia. Best wishes in your journey, and continue walking the path that aligns most with you. It sounds like you've had a really rich experience, and I'm excited for what you get to do now for the rest of this time that you get to call yourself a chiropractor. You get to offer such an amazing service, an amazing gift, and I'm sure you're doing it at a very high level. So keep doing your thing. It's great to see you feeling the way you feel, having just graduated. A lot of people are experiencing burnout. A lot of people are feeling a bit remorse about that education that they got, and it sounds like you found the gifts in it, and you're really focusing on what was right with it as opposed to what was wrong with it. So that's awesome. It's a great message, and it's a great way to be just a strong role model. I think that we need stronger role models for this next generation to really make it through and feel the way that you feel right now at the end of their education and the beginning of their true professional experience. So
Thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing to be a part of this. It's amazing work. To all of the chiropractic students or future chiropractic students, reach out to me, message me, let me know how I can personally support you. I have a very limited office space right now, but you're welcome to shadow, or if you ever want to lead virtual training groups or anything, I'm here. I love being a part of this community, and I want to give back. So thank you so much, and best of luck.